All right, everybody. I have the day off today, so got a lot of palm updates today. I'm going to do something that is pretty unusual for the self-proclaimed Sable King. As you know, the majority of what I have, the majority of what I'm primarily interested in is sables. There really aren't that many I don't have. There's a couple I can't grow here, but there's a couple that I'm in the process of getting that are what they say marginal, just like my rosii. But you already saw that update, so I'm going to test the limits on all of these sables, and I'm going to get to the bottom of what's actually zone 8A hardy or not. But this update's going to be a little bit different. So again, you know me for my love of sables, but one of the things I've always wanted to grow was California fan palms. So Washingtonia Filifera or Filifera. I don't even know how you say it. Correct me, somebody. So one of the things I did was on Palm Talk after February 2021, there were a bunch of them that actually lived and seeded again in February or after February, so after the freeze. So a couple folks went out, collected some seeds from a couple of DFW local parents, and I figured, if I'm ever going to have any luck or success and feel confident about planting it out, because I don't have any in the yard. I got a couple of Robustas that sit on outside the back deck. On the pool deck, I have what I think is a Robusta, but I'm actually going to show you. I think that one might be a Filifera, I think, or pretty close to it. And so one of the things that I did was I got in touch with a local buddy who actually it has a really interesting story. So I procured a bunch of these seeds from the DFW parent of the Filifera. I germinated them, and they're right over, actually, as you can see. I've never done California fan palms, but they're reasonably easy. Nothing different, actually. They germinate really, really quickly. Super, super easy. And I was going to try a couple of these out in the yard. But what's interesting is, in having some conversations, I realized that there's a guy here in the DFW area who has a really interesting story. So his mom, I guess, was part of a garden club in Dallas back in the 60s. They originally lived in Arizona, and this is a solid 7B, maybe even 7A periodically. They're still getting snow. It's like low 20s and wet and snowing and ice and stuff like that. And this area is definitely colder than it is here. And the story goes that his mother brought some seeds of a Filifera from, I think he's got half dozen or dozen on their property in Arizona. And they are thick. They're beautiful looking. And so he brought me some of these seedlings, and I'll show you a couple. And so I picked up a couple of these, and I was thinking that maybe I can grow these alongside of the ones that I have in my seeds. But as we were having a couple beers, come to find out that his mom, per the story, brought these seeds. She planted a big Filifera, down in DFW. And what's kind of funny is, as we were talking, the address that he mentioned was actually the same palm that the guy on Palm Talk actually collected all the seeds that I have growing over there. So it's funny, in this long roundabout way, I got seeds after the freeze from a plant that this guy's mom planted back like in the 60s or 80s or something like that. This thing is huge. And so I'm now in possession of a couple of these. He gave me a bunch of seeds. I'm germinating the ones I have. So I'm actually going to have a whole bunch of these California fan palms that evidently are very, very hardy. He has never covered them. He didn't cover them for February 2021. He didn't cover them for our recent cold in December. And so basically, he literally doesn't do anything to them. And the parent that he has, that he gets his seeds from on his property, is huge, right next to his pool. And I was shocked at how nice it looks. So I'm going to go show you a larger one I have. The largest one, I'm probably going to put 2 or 3 of these in the ground here. I have some spots. And here's an interesting one, right? So I bought a couple of these that were labeled Filifera, or Filifera, however you say it. But you'll notice that these look completely different. They're very, very skinny, not a lot of the fuzz. just different structure of the fronds. They just look very much different. They're just spread out, right? These grow in the same area. Now take a look at one of the 3 that I got was labeled as a Robusta or as a Filifera. Those 2 are not, for sure. This one, though, you could tell. I mean, there is no green at all. This thing is interesting. Even he made the comment that he thinks this of the 3 could actually be a Filifera. Plus, you could see this thing is like stringy. This could possibly be. So it's very interesting. I'm going to try to plant. This guy's been sitting next to my pool, but I would like to plant this guy out there somewhere in the yard. And definitely, I'm going to plant these ones in the yard somewhere. I'm going to give them a shot. I mean, I got them. Why not? And if I were to have one actually make it, it's going to be his genetics. So let me show you the largest one that I have, because it really is a beauty. It's probably a, I don't know, 15 gallon, maybe 10, 15 gallon, something like that. But we exchanged. He has no sables. I gave him some sables, got him started on his journey, and we traded for this one. So let me show you. This guy is just anxious to get around. This is just a beautiful, beautiful pure Filifera from him. His actually has some red, but as they get older, they lose their coloring. And this guy again is just full, beautiful. Now I'll have to get a picture of the parents, not the one on his property, but the one that he's got in Arizona at his parents' house. The thing is, there's I think 8 to 12 of them, and they look really, really beautiful. So I look forward to taking a journey with these guys. And as I mentioned, my goal with all of my sables is, everyone tells me you can't grow that here, you can't plant that at this time of the year. I toss all that nonsense out the window. I'm going to grow by trial and error, and I'm going to help others out there, because I didn't get a lot of help when I first started. There's a lot of things I wanted to plant that I was terrified. People told me not to do it. At some point, I just said, screw it, I'm doing it. And so I hope my journey is going to help other people. So I'd say fasten your seatbelt. We're going to be planting lots of stuff. We're going to plant a lot of stuff this year. I got some things that are tender to our area that have not been covered, like a Maritima, Sable Maritima. I love the look of it, but people say it's a 8B, 9A. I'm not a 9A, and it went through this cold weather without even an issue. So we'll see long term, but I'm gonna try to get to the bottom of what can grow here in DFW. And my goal is to get it all to seed and be able to help to propagate our good genetics out to everybody in DFW. So that's my update on California fan palms. I have some. I am going to grow some. I'm going to document those as I put those in the ground, but those are going to be truly beautiful. And we'll see how they end up. So subscribe, like, add some comments. Let me know what you guys think and what you want to see. Thanks.